Tonight, the president might be heading to court, but not for the Russia investigation.
And Mark Zuckerberg is speaking out about the safety of your Facebook data. We have all that and more for you right now.
Welcome to Cronkite Rundown. I'm Amanda Morris.
And I'm Alicia Longo. Thank you for joining us. Phoenix police are investigating a fatal shooting involving two brothers from Saturday night. 64-year-old Troy York called police to tell them that he accidentally shot his 57-year-old brother Greg York during a fight. Police arrived to the scene and the victim was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say that the victim's brother, Troy York, has been arrested on suspicion of second-degree murder. A Goodyear teacher was arrested last week for alleged sexual misconduct with a 13-year-old male student. Police say that 27-year-old Brittany Zamora had been exchanging sexual messages with a student via texting. The parents of the 13-year-old victim became aware of the messages during a routine monitoring of his phone. Zamora has since been taken into custody and is facing charges of 2 counts of child molestation, 1 count of supplying harmful material, and 9 counts of sexual misconduct with a minor.
Governor Doug Ducey signed a new bill into law on Tuesday that would put stricter penalties on wrong-way drivers. The new bill would charge drivers under the influence with a felony instead of the previous DUI penalty. An impaired wrong-way driver could spend between 4 months and 2.5 years in prison. The Arizona Department of Transportation said 2 of 3 wrong-way crashes are a result of impaired drivers. The bill passed through the Senate with an overwhelming majority vote last week. Following a deadly car crash in Tempe, Arizona last week, Uber has put a hold on testing their cars across the country. The company recently announced that it will not renew its permit to test self-driving cars. Governor Doug Ducey suspended testing in Arizona immediately after the crash. There are now 2 federal investigations underway to determine what went wrong.
President Trump has replaced another member in his cabinet. Our reporter Pat Poblete can tell you who.
Thanks, Alicia. President Trump announced on Wednesday that he will replace Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin with Rear Admiral Ronnie Jackson, the long-serving White House physician. Shulkin was the only holdover from the Obama administration and Trump's cabinet, but has come under fire after a report from the VA Inspector General found serious derelictions by Shulkin last year while on a trip to Europe. The report concluded that Shulkin had spent a good deal of the trip sightseeing with his wife and had inappropriately accepted a gift of Wimbledon tickets. Shulkin becomes the second member of President Trump's cabinet to be replaced this month, after Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. In other news at the White House, President Trump lost his bid to throw out a lawsuit which claims his influence over his businesses violates the Constitution's anti-corruption provisions. A U.S. District Court judge ruled that the governments of Maryland and Washington, D.C. have standing to pursue the case. The court is reviewing if the president is violating the emoluments provision of the Constitution, which prevents top officials from taking money from foreign governments. The Trump Organization has acknowledged taking payments from foreign governments for accommodations and meals at the Trump Hotel, but says it donated those profits to the U.S. Treasury.
The Tempe Police Department added AR-15s to the back of 8 motorcycle units about 6 months ago. The department said cops on motorcycles can often be the first officers to respond to a crime scene. Authorities want to make sure the officers have enough firearms to ensure the safety of the public and themselves. The Tempe Police Sergeant says each officer goes through additional 40 hours of training before being issued a rifle. The guns stay locked with a special mechanism that only the officer can open.
Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, is expected to speak at a Senate hearing on April 10th.
We're going to go now and investigate every app that has access to a large amount of information from before we lock down our platform.
Zuckerberg is speaking out after Cambridge Analytica reportedly accessed information from around 50 million Facebook users without their consent. CNN reports that sources revealed that Facebook is strategically planning Zuckerberg's testimony before the Senate. Our reporter Victoria Valenzuela has further details on the fatal shooting that took place in Sacramento. Victoria?
Thanks, Amanda. A major protest took place in Sacramento on Thursday in reaction to the fatal shooting of Stephon Clark. Clark was unarmed and shot by police in his grandmother's backyard on Sunday. Protesters took to the Sacramento Kings Arena to support the Black Lives Matter movement. According to the Sacramento Bee, hundreds of protesters formed a human chain outside the arena doorways, blocking fans from entering. The game still went on regardless of the empty seats. Sacramento police instructed fans to go home for their safety. No arrests were made. Former Dance Mom reality star Abby Lee Miller has left prison after serving 8 months. Reports say that Miller was accused of attempting to hide hundreds of thousands of dollars. In total, Miller was fined $160,000 for her crimes. Miller is currently being relocated from the FCI Victorville prison in California to a halfway house in Long Beach. E! also reports that within 72 hours of her release, she is expected to report to a probation officer.
A month ago, many people hadn't even heard of Loyola Chicago. Now the Loyola Ramblers are about to play their first Final Four tournament in over 50 years. And one woman who remembers that game has now become a national sensation. Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, the team's 98-year-old chaplain, received recognition during the early rounds of the tournament. Loyola fans hope their team can continue their impressive run on the court against Michigan on Saturday. A new Dallas Cowboys wide receiver signee still plans to pay tribute to his native Florida roots in Texas. Our reporter Lindsay Clickingbeard has the scoop.
Thanks, Alicia. Alan Hearns, a former Jacksonville receiver, will wear the number 17 on his jersey to honor the 17 victims from the Florida school shooting. Born in Miami, Hearns never played football for another state. He played college ball for the University of Miami and began his NFL career with the Jaguars. His jersey with Jacksonville, number 88, is already taken by Dallas wide receiver Dez Bryant. Hearns looks forward to honoring his hometown state in Texas. The Arizona State community has a family member turning 90 this year. The Sun Devils mascot, Sparky, was first performed by Dick Jacobs from 1951 to 1953. He was the only student to attend the tryouts. Jacobs turns 90 on April 4th this year. As Sparky, Jacobs performed gymnastic stunts such as handstands on top of the goalpost and backwards bicycle riding.
Home and away on Cronkite Rundown Sports.
Welcome back to Home and Away, everybody. I'm Arturo Spell, joined alongside very special guest, Carzi Dominguez. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Matter of fact, it's our honor, because if there's one person out there in the world who may be the #1 expert on what we're going to talk about today, esports, you're looking right at her. So with that being said, before we get to Home and Away, give us the gist of exactly what esports is, and then tie it all back to how it relates to us here at home.
You got it, Art. So basically, esports is playing video games at a high competitive level by professional gamers. And so some of the things that you need to know about esports are the type of games that are played competitively. We have what are known as MOBAs, which are the multiplayer online battle arenas like Dota and like League of Legends. And also, first-person shooters and battle royales are really popular right now. So that's kind of some of the games that you need to know about. But speaking about home, here in Arizona, one of the things that people need to know is that ASU actually has their very own esports teams. So there's Sun Devil Esports, there's also ASU Esports Association, and they hosted what was known as the Fiesta Bowl Overwatch National Champion. It's a collegiate championship of Overwatch players. And ASU and U of A went up against each other, and ASU was the victor in that competition.
They took, wow, that's amazing. There you go, fork them. For ASU, good for them. And so that's how it relates to here at home, turning away, but not too far away. Something really big happened in the esports community, and it happened in America's playground for grown-ups, Las Vegas. So Carzi, talk a little bit about what exactly that was and how significant it'll be moving forward.
Exactly, so this is a really big deal. So in Las Vegas, like he said, America's playground, the Luxor Hotel and Casino opened up the very first esports arena. And this is a huge venue that they're going to be hosting some of the biggest competitions in the United States.
Right.
One of the biggest competitions that's going to be happening is hosted by the foremost Fortnite player known as Ninja. He's a former Halo player. He's hosting it and competing against it. And any of his winnings are going to be donated to charity. So this is a really big event because, as we know, Fortnite is one of the biggest games here globally. You could play it on PS4, Xbox, you could play it on your computer, and now you could play it on your mobile phone. So, but that competition is coming up, and that will be held there in Las Vegas at the brand new esports arena.
That's amazing. And so, and as we turn to our last segment, neutral site, it's one of those things where if you love sports, but you also got to get with the times, which is online technology, this is something you have to at least respect with the utmost. So give us your last take of what you think needs to be said by you, and definitely what needs to be heard by our audience out there.
I think one of the biggest questions that people who are into gaming and want to learn more about esports is, where can I find this? Where can I actually sit and watch these competitions? I can't fly to China and watch, the latest esports competition. What I would tell them is get online and go to twitch.tv.com or mixer.com, the utmost streaming platforms where they showcase these competitions live. So you can sit down, you can learn about it, and you can watch your favorite players, your favorite esports leagues, and you can tune in that way and interact with them as well.
There you go. I'm a Madden man myself, so I'll be doing that. Hopefully you guys will be doing that. And again, Carzi, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And so with that, that'll be all for Home and Away this week. We'll see you next time. Until then, take care.
Home and Away on Cronkite Rundown Sports.
Now for everyone here at Cronkite Rundown, thank you for joining us.
And for more information about our show, visit www.cronkiterundown.wordpress.com. We'll see you next week.